Welcome to No Ideas Original with Shannon and Mr. Rob. We are blessed today to have fashion designer Willie Esco with us. How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing, man?
What's up, champ? How you been, man?
Staying COVID-free, mourning the loss of Brother Floyd,
Right.
and hoping that we really make change this time.
Right.
I get so frustrated when it just goes away. Like the next headline comes, and
it repeats.
I'm still on Philandro, I'm Castillo, I'm still on Sandra Bland. Like, how did they let up on these?
Right.
How
did you
Sandra
just move
Bland
over to the next situation and this is happening?
Sandra Bland thing is baffling to me because this is a female. Like, all right, men dying in police custody is one thing, right? This was a female. How did this not?
Right.
How did this go away? Like,
yeah.
And it's a very educated female. Like,
yes, sir.
That's really like frustrating.
She was a protester too. I think she was riling up some streets before that happened. And they probably had a tag on her and said, "Yo, that's one of them." Who knows, man? I don't know.
I'm baffled by it.
Yeah, I'm
so
sad.
Frustrating. So frustrating that And my brother's an ex-retired police officer. My brother-in-law is a retired police officer. So it's just fear. Like
it's tough.
They don't want to die. People don't. You put on that thing, you don't want to die, and then that's the core base, right? Your fear, but you shouldn't take the job if you're gonna be scared to die.
That's a good point.
Number one. Number two is how you taught, man. It's how you taught.
Yeah.
Right.
As a police officer, you need the law enforcement how you taught. So everything got to be done over.
And it's funny you spoke about teachers, man. I always said teachers and police officers got the toughest jobs in the planet because their job is to the value, the moral fabric of society. They got to keep that in order.
Yeah,
that's 7 billion people. Son. That's a big job, man.
My kid, any kid doesn't know prejudice. That they taught that, and that's if it's education and teaching overhauling the police system because it's so like pork barrel right now, like unions. Nice. You can't fire nobody. That's what the problem is. You gotta get rid of everybody in the police. Everybody, time out, everybody out.
Start over.
You only police if you're from the region. Like, I can't send my kid to another school in another region. Why should there be a cop be able to come in my region and police me? Like, it's pretty. All the answers are right there.
Yeah, right. There definitely is a systemic issue that they got to look at and figure out how do they fix it. This may be the real pandemic right here, right? Because we didn't get a chance to even heal from Ahmaud Arbery, and now we on to this one.
Like he said, I'm still healing from Trayvon, son.
Trayvon is and Trayvon don't even get considered, and this is not police, like right? It's like it's like it's frustrating. So my son. My oldest son is half black, so he's in LA. But I'm like, don't let the anger kick in, man. Like, I'm not there for you.
Yeah.
But and my other son, he is half Dominican, so it's like, don't believe what you are black. Me no Dominican, that dope. You're black. You're black.
Right. Let's get to the point, son. Let's get to the point.
So that's my thoughts. That's what I'm obsessive on news, and I've always been like that. So to just monitor everybody's behavior and this whole thing, and it's time to vote. It's time to vote, and you see how I think. But I knew this. Listen, Trump got elected. Knew this was gonna happen. I just didn't know how. Like, he's gonna mess it all up.
Just wait. Wait.
Yeah, I was like. The pandemic threw me way off. I'm like, all right, okay. The pandemic, took away all his economic,
strength. His strength.
He took it away. Like
the economic strength he inherited, though. He inherited that.
Yeah, they broke it. They broke the whole shit up and be like, let's give it to the black guy. We don't want that shit. And when the black guy came and fixed it, they're like, all right, give it back.
You're back. Yeah. He's too fly. He's making moves, yo.
How is it not that obvious to everybody? Like, how do I have some friends that saying, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm gonna vote for Hillary. I'm like, are you kidding me? Supreme Court, like, abortion depends on this lady getting in, guys. Like,
people see what they want to see. People see what they want to see, man.
Their ego, So I that's my little rant for the beginning of the stages,
So what inspired you to get into fashion?
Oh, I was as it goes back, like I was maybe 4th grade. I used to like to draw in school, sketch, comic book stuff. That I never was good at it. I just was sketch, right? And the sketching led to a good friend of mine, Ian Scott. Now I am in predominantly the Latin part of my neighborhood in Newark, New Jersey, where all the Latins were. I had a black friend named Ian Scott who could draw, and I was like, "Yo, I like what you good. I want to learn how to do that." So his drawing led me to explore drawing. I left it alone for a few years. This is 70, 73, 74, 75, and it's like once you start getting into looking to the college, to the high school you want to go to, you start saying, all right, what am I doing with my life? Like, I don't know. I know I started drawing a lot, and then I left it alone. When I got to St. Benedict's Prep, which treated us like adults, like that high school, they treated you like you're in college. So everything was programmed. You were not monitored. You go to your class when you're supposed to. You don't have class that day, you don't have to come in. Like, that was unheard of. Right. So the school was progressive. The programs there were progressive. The religious perspective was progressive. So I got lucky and I got into a school, and I selected the school because I like camping, and they had a big, to graduate you had to camp out for a week and hike 50 miles, which is pretty well known. It's covered on 60 Minutes. So it's in the heart of Newark where the riots were. These Benedictine monks never left. They built a core program which led us to be perennial, like basketball behemoths and soccer, programs that are like world renowned. But my day was just putting the pieces back together after the riots in Newark, and going into school. That's when the beginning of hip hop was for me. Like, so you're looking at moving into a black neighborhood in 1979. Combine that with listening to Chic turn into Grandmaster Flash, like how they flipped that. I was like, that's interesting how they did that. So hip hop,
those were the breakbeat days.
Yeah, the breakbeats, and nobody was doing the breakbeats, but I can hear Grandmaster Flash and know where they got it from. I was like, that's clever. But the culture started growing. Like, so then you want to get girls, right?
Yeah, you want to stay fly.
You had to stay fly. So what is the definition of fly? From disco to hip hop was two different things.
Right.
And maybe it was a different kind of fly if I stayed in the Spanish neighborhood. Right. But I moved to a black neighborhood. And my black neighborhoods, Pumas, Lees. If you were bad enough to wear Kangol, you would wear Kangol.
Now, so I don't mean to cut you off, Will. I don't mean to cut you off, but Pumas back then was the shoe. That shit was like a penny loafer. Between Pumas and shell tops, you could wear with slacks, my G.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wear them with jeans or shorts. And as long as they clean, you were smooth.
This before Nike. You got
right before
silhouette.
Nike.
Like, you got the rubber, so you got the silhouette was everything. So the pro kids couldn't afford, and as I got into a point where I can afford them, Puma came on the scene, 73, 74, and the colors were crazy. They were going right with Lee's, and silhouette profile, side view of the shoe was everything. It was everything.
Right.
Coming out the box, everything to me. So getting fly was torturous ritual for me. I don't have the money to get fly, but I tried to be fly. It started with your feet. So your shoes were your cars, right? It's your car. People judge you. So in Newark, they know if I'm in Manhattan, they know I'm from Newark because I got Pumas on. But it was assimilation, listening to hip hop music, which led me to the pillars of hip hop. And if I'm going to participate or enjoy this music, you now, within the music, you have ability to take on some hobbies within the music, right? So it's like you can do DJing, you can rap, you can beat breakdance, you can graffiti. So what is it you want to do? So it automatically puts you in a space to get the gear, identify what tribe you're running with, which is I'm listening to this new thing called hip hop or rap. They call it rap back then. And then the gear you wore sort of dictated how many girls you got. And then what you participated in the hip hop was to be expected that the Spanish kid was going to either graffiti or breakdance.
Breakdance, yeah.
I mean, I watched Wild Style the other night. I hit Fab Five Freddy. I'm like, yo, man, this thing is timeless. It's horribly put together, but it's beautiful because I remember going to the movie theater to see it and was fascinated by it. But in there, I saw my first dude rapping in there, and I was like, yo, we can rap too? I was like, yeah, blew my mind. Eddie Cheaper, all these cats was running. I was like, yo, that, and I said that led to, all right, so doing graffiti and breakdance is normal, but damn, if I could be a rapper, that would be crazy. I just wasn't verbally there. But to see, it was like, I could be anything within this thing of hip hop. It's like a little club that nobody knows. So I decided to focus on those creative pieces of the puzzle, which led to graffiti being, when I'm not breakdancing, I'm doing graffiti. So, and obviously the physical aspects of graffiti. Once you had dynamic breakers, you had these guys. We were pretty well known in our neighborhood, but once they started doing 1990, doing things that I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, let me just focus on art. I'm not doing that no more. So I'm in school. I'm in St. Benedict's going into college years. You know what I mean? And I had to make a decision. I was like, am I going to try this art thing again? Because in the midst of getting into hip hop, I focused more on breakdancing than graffiti. When I realized physically, that's not a long-term business. You can make money. Like, you can't make money breakdancing. So I could probably make money doing art. So I had to shift gears, get back into the swing of things doing art. So my last year at Benedict's, 84, 85, was primarily focusing on trying to get into FIT. Now, this is 85, y'all. So it's like going to a Fashion Institute of Technology in 1985 was super progressive, and most people would say, "What's going on with you? Are you okay?" Like,
right. Because the demographic is different back then.
You were considered gay, and I'm like, why is that the case? Like, I like fat. Like, this is the era where you're like, everything you wore was like you had to iron it. I was like, why? I want to learn more about how to make clothes, and that was just bizarre for folks. Like, in my circle, in the hood, it was just bizarre. It was like, you're labeled gay, and I'm like, and I luckily I'm open minded, so I was like, I don't care what people think of me. That's what I want to do. I think I can make money at that. So,
and keeping it real, gay dudes were fly. They stay fly, son.
they were on next level stuff. Like,
they were the boosters. Like, they kept all the fly stuff, man.
So that being the case, 85, I took a knee, and I was like, you know what? Let me just try being this banker. Let me figure out if I'm gonna do finance, because I couldn't get into FIT. I couldn't hustle couldn't hustle my way into FIT. It was it's trying to go into the front door of and they too also were like, where are you from? You're from Newark, New Jersey. Why would you want to be a fashion designer? No, you can't get in here.
So after high school, you went to FIT.
I tried to get in. Down. That's when I went to Rutgers, down the block from St. Benedict's, Rutgers, Newark.
Right.
Did 2 years there of just core requirement product, like math, English, science. The second year was like, all right, what do you want to do for a living? You have to claim your major. And I'm like, I don't want to do none of this shit. I'm going to go back to fashion. So by my, this is 86 into 87.
Right.
A lot of house music. Now, mind you, I'm so into, listen, I'm such a sneakerhead and so much into hip hop. I did not like, and I go way back, I am the guy who did not like to see people dancing to hip hop. I just wanted you to stand and listen to
it. The B-boy pose?
B-boy stance, son.
I didn't like, this thing is becoming too much of a party thing. Like,
it's like disco. We ain't supposed to be dancing like this.
Right, you're not supposed to be. That was like, you go into the club, you smoke some weed, LSD, MS, whatever it is.
Right.
You just vibe to the music, and you just do your two-step, which wasn't. I was like, that's not part of the game. Like, so that 85 to 86, and I'm like, then some crazy rap started coming out of New York. It was an Inspector Gadget. Music just got funny to me. I was like, this shit is getting corny. Like, I was Run DMC, I'm Houdini, all that was dope. Then you started getting funny styles with me. I was like, you know what? You want to dance? Let's get into some house music. So it was Jersey house music. My second year into Rutgers, I'm like, if you're going to plan what you're going to do with your life, you have to take the next 6 months to plan it. Okay. What happened? I saw the admissions process at FIT. Let me try this FIT thing again. And I was like, I can't do that thing. How do I do it? Do they have a night class, or who's on the this is the hustle part of hip hop.
Right.
Who's on the admissions staff? Now, there's no IG, there is no social media. This is like, here's the pamphlet. Or who's the admissions staff for Fashion Illustration? I need to see who they are. I found their name.
Called them?
No, I just did research.
Right.
Then I went to Artai, who was next to me. They have a night class. So I said, let me take a night class to brush up. And they said, you know, some of the teachers here teach at FIT. I was like, word?
How did that work out? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just coincidence. I was like, if I'm going to make a run at getting into FIT, I got to practice more. Got to get serious. And this is amidst getting high, going to Zanzibar, partying up the storm, dabbling with hip hop, breakdancing, here and there, fading out. And so I just said, you know what, let me do my due diligence. And I cross-referenced the lady that was teaching at our time. Yeah. Just so happens that the lady that was teaching at night at this class was on the admissions for FIT.
How about that?
So I was like,
it was meant to be.
It is right there. There it is.
Meant to be.
Yo, there it is. That's my higher power showing me. That's the way right there, bro. Now put on your charm and hustle your way into this. And that's what I was like. I'm gonna be her best student, on time, early, Apple. I was like, you know what? I think I might go to FIT. She's like, get out of here. I'm in admissions. I was like, get out of here. Like, oh, that's crazy.
Let's make it work.
That's early finessing.
Finessing early. She got me in, no problem. Front door.
Nice.
No problem. And then when I got in, there's a lot of tension, like you're worried. But once I got in, I saw that I'm able to compete with them. And I was like, okay, so it's not a big thing. I can do this. Once I got in, there's some doubt, there's fear. You're dealing with folks that are like Calvin Klein.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you who were you competing with while you were in there?
It was, you know, I went in wanting to be a fashion designer, but my talents lend itself to in newspapers for sale. So, you know, newspaper and sell, right? So back then, illustration had a place in the marketplace. You could make a living, but like, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
So like breakdancing, it was a dying art. Like fashion illustration was a dying art. So fashion illustration is elongating the body and selling the product by drawing it and selling it to magazines, which was going to go out of business. So I knew that again, if I get into illustration, I was going to pivot into fashion design. That's two different degrees, but going straight into fashion design, I was not going to get in. So the first angle was, you know, do the illustration thing and then declare a second major, design.
Right.
And then that became easier because when I went in to see all the designers, they just didn't know how to sketch. They were just ass with sketching. They didn't know how to sketch at all. So my ideas were, I knew how to sketch. All I need to do is learn the technical aspect, which is sewing. No problem. Like anybody can learn technical stuff. Don't matter. Don't take no talent. You just got to learn it. Like you want to change a tire, you just learn how to change a tire. There's no such thing as not being able to change a tire. I mean, you learn it. So designing clothes is the same thing. It's like creative part is the hardest part for these kids in the design school. They did not know how to draw, or they could think of something they didn't know how to put on paper. Shit, I can put everything on paper and then just learn the technical side. So that was a cakewalk
for you, right?
Yeah, it was easy. It was easy. So I was finding that I was manipulating the system in there, and I got into exactly what I wanted to get into. And then you graduate. And then when you graduate, life hits you. You got to do work. So I worked in the business for 10 years, you know, before I got my shit popping off, you know.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Will. With the ever-growing emergence of fashion trends, and will there ever be a renaissance in fashion merging with a culture like hip-hop? Because the culture, the way fashion started to merge, it lines itself right with the culture and with the music and how people dress. Are we prepared for another renaissance? Because there's nothing like the 80s and 90s of fashion. Like we're still talking about Puma, and you know, wearing Clarks. I remember wearing Bally's and British Walkers and all of them things. People kind of forgot about, which was quality fashion, if you ask me, man.
Yeah.
So my question is, will there be another renaissance, another merge where music and the culture of music and fashion merge, which will identify the clothing?
I don't necessarily think there is. I think there's an evolution. Will it go back to that? It does. I think a moment like Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, like these moments when you can't go back, right?
Right.
But you can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Bird, Larry, seeing them play.
Magic.
Appreciate it, but you can't bring it back. So I think the gift was we created the space to be pioneers. Ultimately, the space became identifiable and easily copied, right? Because I was having a conversation with the younger kid. I'm like, it is no difference what's happening today and back in the day, right? But our culture, people in our space, like, so when I get out of FIT and I work for 10 years, I know hip hop like the back of my hand, right? But I'm working 9 to 5. I'm styling for photo shoots for Fat Joe. You know, I put Fat Joe in his first Coogi. Before he was Flo Joe, he was, you know, army jackets like Nas and stuff. So
clean them up a little bit.
Clean them up. Jealous One's Envy. I'm in the album cover. So I'm starting to do the work, and I understand the space I'm in, and it sounds crazy, but I understood the moment, right? The moment being this opportunity to make long-term money, make a name for myself, and possibly be a pioneer in it, because at the time you had Mecca, Carl Kanai, Ubu just started.
Yeah.
No, not a Nietzsche yet. Not Nietzsche yet. Nietzsche were the Mecca guys. They left. So Mecca was cool. Well designed.
Mark Echo was Echo.
Echo was not out yet.
Wasn't out there yet.
No, not yet. And then I understood it was Walker Ware, Carl Kanai, Cross Colors was already on the downside. So you had the early guys, and I knew that nobody's Latin, so I can get that spot. It was no different than me going to the club. I'm guaranteed to get some. I'm guaranteed. I don't care about the Latin girls. I'm guaranteed to get a black girl because I'm gonna be the only Puerto Rican in there. Straight up.
You was using your player card, boy. You was using that card, son.
There's only
doubt.
One of me.
That's right.
That appreciates the culture.
Did you You had an opportunity to connect with Damon John at some point, right? Did he? Did he help you advance your vision?
Yeah, that's a funny story. But going into it, I understood the moment. And will there be an opportunity? Yes and no. So the fit, which signified that our culture, that's what made us different from what ended up making us different. I also identified us as that thing. So what made us different was good for the first 5-10 years, and later on aspirational. You wanted to assimilate to fashion culture. So that's the hard part. The hard part is understanding I want to do high fashion from off the rip. Remember, I went to FIT. Why do I gotta do baggy stuff? I want to fuck with Giorgio shit. Why can't we do that?
Throw a button-up shirt in there. Let me throw a button-up shirt in there, son.
We had to create something so disruptive recreated something out of nothing, right? That was hip-hop. Making the clothes. Once we taught the garmental industry, the full sense where I don't need a Willie Esco. I pay what I got to pay for him, and a moment in time. Now, what happened is we've been infiltrated. So what made us different was the fit, but that also made us identifiable. So we embraced it, but it quickly became an identifiable look. Right. That's not what I want to be. It's almost like I was telling the young kid, the projects are placed in the locations for a reason. So that's what made us different and created music, but then it became something that was a negative thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I wanted to ask you is it's funny you mentioned that in terms of the label that was associated with the brands you name, the Willie Escos, the Mecca, Carl Kanai. It was always that label of urban wear or streetwear. But at the same time, there were people that they was wearing Tommy or people that was wearing Ralph Lauren, but they seemed to never get that label or that tag as urban wear. But they took a lot of the designs and inspirations you guys had and made the same type of clothing. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I mean, that's a fit. That's a trend, right? So you always got to stay on trend, right? So I don't fault any brand for, hey, man, if it's something baggy, we do that today. Something baggy, it's just they have more bandwidth. I mean, they have more power, which is that white privilege piece of the puzzle. Like a lot of the brands had moments. That's part of the reason why I got with Fubu and Samsung family, because they had the money and the power. And I needed, and the sense of urgency was, this thing is not going to last forever. So I need to get with the guys with the most money and make noise so that I have a career after this, because it's going to go away. I always felt the baggy thing was not me. But at the same time, I understood it.
I'm glad that era came and gone too, son.
So the key thing was catch-22 is once it got back to normal, which is post-fashion, like once it became okay to be a designer from the street and streetwear thing came into play, urban was a way to identify you from a distance.
Right.
That's all. I was like, I don't want that. Urban wear was a way to let you say, no, we don't have any urban wear in our stores. So what once was good became bad, and that's a lot in life. You know what I mean? So beepers were good. They're not no more. So it's like you can't be wearing beepers no more. So it's evolution, and I knew that our culture is built on evolution and always changing, and you got to embrace the change. So in fashion is the same thing. You have to embrace the change. Now, the goal was to be a pioneer, continue to make money, walk away with being able to someone to look me up and see my pedigree and say, that's a real person. Willie Esco is a real person. Yes, it was a brand, but it's a real person. You mentioned Mecca, right? You don't know who's behind Mecca.
No, I don't.
Right. So I never wanted it to be a generic name that I can't walk away with some sort of notoriety. Like that could generate money for me. So FUBU guys was the same. I was like, I don't want to be a FUBU or a Fat Farm. I want to be the name. That was the goal. Always the goal. Right.
That's good branding.
As you figure out, I want to partner up with the FUBU guys. It wasn't the FUBU guys. It was the money guys behind the FUBU guys, which was Samsung and my other two partners. Understanding the money part is the key. You have power if you have the right money, and we competed with Tommy. You know what I mean? We were always in competition with Tommy because we had deeper pockets than Tommy. That was the goal, but understanding that the practice of regular designing with traditional formulas of designing clothes. Like if a bootleg is in, a bootleg is in. If this silhouette is in, this silhouette is in. But for us in urban, leather might be hot, but it was always a baggy leather. Like it was always whatever it is, baggy. Like.
Right. He wasn't wearing no tight leather like Eddie Murphy on Delirious. He wasn't doing that, son. That wasn't it.
So the goal I understood back then was to evolve to a point where you can differentiate if it's a black guy designing or a white guy designing. It's just dope brand, and fit, adjusting the fit to the time of, to standardize with the rest of the pack, where it made us different back in the day. Now you need to assimilate so that they can differentiate and say, well, that's urban, or streetwear, right?
That's right.
And I think we hit a moment of singularity when Supreme Streetwear partnered with LVMH. You can't put that back in the bottle either. Like, they just confirmed that streetwear is as valuable as a luxury house.
As high end now, yeah.
The goal was to get in the perimeter, crack the glass ceiling of luxury houses, and they needed to because they did not understand social media. Like our garmentals back then didn't know how to go to the video, place it on LL, and then it goes into an ad. They didn't know how to do that. Once we taught them that, we didn't become valuable anymore. It's happening again today. So the minute you partner up with a Nike, you dilute your brand. The minute you partner up with LVMH, you dilute your brand.
Oh, wow.
Because they want your metrics. They only care about how many people can you reach. And we're always first, like as a culture, like we're progressive. We know the power of social media. So Louis Vuitton looking at Virgil like, how you got more followers than us?
And we Louis Vuitton, the arrogance. Right, I get it.
So that's what's happening present day. Like it's being diluted, and before you know it, these cats will be like, and I remember when I used to run the game, like You know,
right?
It's hard.
Let me ask you, you being a designer, which would probably naturally make you a stylist. How many people have you worked with as far as styling them and picking out their clothing for maybe a show or for a video or for an event?
I mean, I work obviously with Nas. I work with all the time.
Yeah.
And then
you spoke of Fat Joe.
Yeah, Fat Joe was early on. J. Rue the Damager. Like, I worked with Daniel Hastings, a photographer, prior to my days in the Esco. So all of his early work, Wu-Tang, all that stuff, I'm on set. Bill for Cuban Links, I'm on set as a stylist. So so he taught me how to move and be comfortable dealing with these rappers who were probably just as uncomfortable as I was, right? And innately, my knowledge of fashion would kick in and tell them, "Nah, you should wear some silks." Like, rappers wear silks back then. Like, wear this, wear that. So, but there's no one. It's just a matter of, do they need my help, or the stylist thing took off as well. But early on, I was styling everything. So I dealt with anybody that needed my help. I would help. Like Coogi alone would put me in the space with everybody. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I mean, you working with a guy like Nas, who's an influential rapper, but the extent of his fashion experience probably is just him getting dressed and putting on what he likes. How is that? The partner with, here's this guy that he's this renowned MC, but from a fashion standpoint, you're the expert.
Yeah, and I'm a Latin expert, so it was the dynamic was really weird, right? And it's not a bad thing. It's just I need to.
It was uncommon for somebody of your persuasion to be
I'm an anomaly at the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm different, and anomaly from Newark. Like, I'm not from the city,
right?
So the level I'm cunning in a sense where I'm like, I need to label this my personal. What is it going to be? So my parents, my name goes back. I go back a few years, and I studied that there's an Escobar in the family. So I need to ensure success for my first investor, right? Which was not the Samsung guys. I need to ensure some penetration into the marketplace, success with my first investor. I need kids to automatically tune in when they hear the name, and Nas was on the radio playing all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's Latin. That's my family background name. And his boy Ill Will got killed. I'm like, there it is. Like, same as getting into FIT. I was like, there it is.
Yeah, your universe works with you, brother.
So for me, it was, let me build it. And while I'm building, I'm being nice enough to reach out to the team, because I remember working with the photographer, Daniel Hastings. Mm-hmm. Can you please reach out to him, tell him what I'm working on? Now, I'm totally independent. I'm sort of having some backers, but not Samsung. So really crucial to try and reach out to him and get him on board. But he got styled around him. He's being touted, as a very super highbrow rapper. And for me, I'm like, it's no different than going to FIT being scared of, these guys are designers. I'm like, so at a certain point, it kicks in, and I'm like, I'm gonna design this. My brand's gonna have an alter ego. It's gonna be for African American culture. Will be for Nas will represent that. For Latin culture, and he does it in his rhymes. Like, he puts on a persona of a Latin drug lord, but you're not Latin, nor you are a drug lord. So it's okay for you to do it. I can do it in fashion.
It's the alter ego. That's right.
Yeah. So the ability to push forward, regardless if I make the connection with Nas or not. He ultimately came to my office. Once I had to deal with Samsung, he came to my office and started making noise. And that's when you realize, oh, you don't know too much about anything about fashion. You're like, you have your point of view, but there's no perspective on what's coming, what's the next trend. It's like, I wanted to wear army jackets and
army hats.
Army hats, Tim's. Like, you know, it was the concept of wearing Gucci was just coming about. Yes, Big Daddy Kane did it.
Dapper Dan, the Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan was doing it, but it was not touched in this era. It was a weird time because they're off the Gucci thing. They're more into black-owned brands and discovery of those black-owned brands called Kanai. And we had our moment, but they were going back into aspirational white brands. So you'll see Nas wearing a pair of Gucci's with flat, hard-soled Gucci's that I remember going to the mall with him and Stout, and they bought these Gucci's that were like, I didn't understand the desire to wear that platform, that low profile, hard-soled shoe with a wide-ass leg jean. I'm like, that shit don't look right, guys. But they wanted that. They wanted that look. They wanted that look. I'm like, I don't get that at all. But okay. So certain styling opportunities came about, and then certain things you just can't say, yeah, that's kind of whack, but you just let them rock out. Like, do whatever you want. At that point, I'm no longer a stylist. I'm like, I'm the designer. Do what you want with the gear. If you need my help, I'll help you.
Right. That's right. Now, I noticed that you've launched a Makaveli line, and now you're working with Coogi. How is it working with two notable artists such as Biggie and Pop? Them not being here, but still finding the inspiration to
that's another
create material.
So the finessing and the finagling, like to get into FIT and getting my own name, I got exhausted by being the face of my brand, right? I got exhausted. Why? Because I'm sort of introverted in the sense where I like my privacy, and I started getting in the mix, too much in the mix of the culture where it didn't fit me. Like, I don't pop Cristal. Like, I don't drink and I don't smoke. So there came a point in time when, like, what are you going to be? What do you want to do?
Right.
Are you going to play the role? And I always say, like I said, this ain't going to last forever, so why play the role? I'll just cut the cord now, man.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to, me and Nas had disputes, and it was disputes in him not knowing the business. So the anger was focused towards me instead of the business, So you not knowing that you can't own a majority of your business that I created with my partners because you didn't invest in it. You get a percentage.
You get a percentage.
But you don't. Yeah, you can't own 80% of the brand we built up. We put you on last, right?
Wow.
Now I'll go hard and get more for you, right? But I don't even own the majority, so I got to go to my partners and ask them, like, what do you think? And it was weird, bro. It's weird because my man, trust me. I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's not me. Now, the dynamic is interesting. Gotta hear me out. I'm unique. I'm from Newark. I'm not from Queens. Fubu guys are from Queens. Nas is from Queens. There is fear in this business of falling off or being left behind, right? So at the time, there's uneasiness. Like, how does Damon John probably have more money than me? Right, because Damon John is in Fubu. He probably controls more of his business than you with Columbia and your music, right? So it's frustration there, and then the easy target was me and my crew, right? So okay, dude, I can only be transparent, right? And I will gladly put you in a room with my partners and let's get you more equity in the company. But that requires a conversation where, that, and I got tired of that. I got tired of trying to appease or I'm in a club, more superficial things. I'm in a club. Nas wants 10 bottles of Cristal. I'm like, why? Why is it? Because he has to. There's an image. I'm like,
astronomical, the crazy request, right?
Now this is 10 bottles of Cristal in 1998, y'all. This is like, this is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
All my boys have to have a bottle in their hand. I'm like, wow, I'm like, I need to get out of this. Like, this is not me. This is not me. I love this business, but this being, so I start plotting. I need to get out of this. So I knew I'm coming up on 7 years doing it. I knew the business, and Nas's tenure with anybody in the business, you're running 5 to 7 before you have a full blown F you, get out of my face. He did it with everybody. He did it with the firm. He did it with everybody, right? So, and I know that it's not anything personal. It's just lack of understanding how the business is run. So I was like, guys, like, I knew it was about to take a turn for the worse. So as exiting, I'm starting to say, all right, what am I going to do next? That doesn't require me to be in a club with you. Don't require me to be in ads. Don't require me to babysit you or an artist. What is that? I'm intellectual in that sense where I want to keep doing this, but I need to do it where I'm sitting back at home. I'm Wizard of Ozing it, behind the curtain, and don't got to do much.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And 2 opportunities came. 50 Cent, G Unit.
Okay. Yeah.
Working with Shaw Money. And then my sales rep said, my brother's teaching Tupac in college. I'm like, what? He's like, they're teaching courses of Tupac in college. This is 2003. Right? And I'm like, what do you mean? All of his poetry. He is prolific. He's got a lot of writings, and they're just teaching his. I was like, oh, if they're teaching him in college, and I knew the guy who ran the estate, I'm like, that could be a brand. Like that, I go automatically to like,
bling, 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 bling.
But I got 2 ends of the spectrum. 50's brand new. Tupac is an OG. I'm trying to do both.
Right.
So I put on a table for 50, 500K to do G Unit. Unfortunately, he did an ad with Mark Echo just prior to me starting to get in his head about doing a brand, and Mark gave him $2 million. I'm like, wow, you got to do that. That's the deal you do.
Right, you don't look back. Don't look back.
Right, $1 million out the deal, and I'm still on the grind like that. That's from that. Right. So, but I was to understand I had my finger on the pulse is more gratifying than actually, being a face of the brand. Like, I'm gonna do this or this. Both are gonna work, no matter what. Right. I went, put my efforts behind Tupac. No, he's not asking for anything at the club. He's gone. Right. It's gone. Right. There's no issue there. It's just honoring his legacy. And when I started seeing how many people love this guy,
yes, sir.
And the problem why I did not see it is because I'm a Biggie guy. I'm New York. I didn't really like pop. But when I dug, I had kept an open mind, and I dug, and I said, this is more genius than what I did with Esco. This is going to be crazy. And then I looked up everything, like 11 million Makaveli. I'm like, let me just check if that's fucking clear. It's Makaveli. I can make that a brand. No trademark on the brand. I'm like, oh, there it is again. It's like the most, you sold 11 million copies and nobody trademarked the category for clothing. No problem. So I think this is where if you're tuned into, how you move, I wanted to really get out of being a face or anything. This was what it made a way for me. Like, so I went to, I'm not a jerk. I went to explained to everybody involved, here's what I want to do. I went to Afeni, sat with Afeni. Here's what I like to do. Inked the deal. And then after I inked the deal, because I had to clear the trademark, I said, I want to call it. They thought I was going to call it Tupac. I'm like, no. It has to be something sexy. And something I control. Like, I didn't control the name Tupac. Like, I want to control the deal. Because you don't know. Like, once you control everything, then you see how people get fidgety. And they're like, so you want to call it Makaveli? You're like, Makaveli, you're like, yeah, that's going to work. And you didn't think of it?
Yeah.
They're like, damn. Like, then they'll do Google, lawyers look at it like, you trademarked this? Yeah. Just think, how do you know I trademarked it? I'm not a jerk, though.
They wanted to beat you to the punch after you mentioned it.
But I leveraged everything, and then I handed it over to Afeni. It's yours. Like, that's not mine.
Nice.
That's right. That's dope.
I'm not an asshole like that. But
that's dope.
Dealing with Nas, dealing with Fubu Queens, like, there are times when we're at Source Awards, you gotta wear my brand. Like, you're at the Source Awards, he'll wear Fubu shit, and I'm like, I'm talking to Damon, and I'm like, yo, guys, what are you doing? Like
cutthroat business. It sound like
like, we're family. Why would you do that to me, man? You shouldn't do that. Like, I don't give packages to LL. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted out of that, and Tupac was ultimately the easiest thing, because I'll call up Luda. I need you for an ad. What is it? Tupac. I'm there. Free.
Right.
Easy. All my ads free. All of them free.
Let me ask you, and just in as a follow-up question, in retrospect, do you think, like, after now years have passed and you've had the opportunity to sort of sit back and reflect on your workings with Nas, is there anything you think that you would have done differently?
Unfortunately, no. There's nothing. You can't control other people, right? So the problem I ultimately will have is what everybody else faced, from AZ to Dre. Everybody faced this brilliant mind that had was trying to navigate business. He just didn't know enough about the business. Now he does. Now he's around the right people, but legally, he didn't have the right people around him. A lot of insecurity. Stout was in his ear a lot, and I get it. I didn't know either, but I would literally say, "Yo, Nas, please, we have Samsung, man. Like, what do you need? I will pimp Samsung to get you whatever you need." But there was a level of doubt. There's a level of doubt that I was like, "Yeah, I'm never going to get in his inner circle." So you gotta. There's nothing you can do.
Business. Yeah, you can't do business that way.
Yeah. So that was the dilemma I faced. Like, and I knew that, and I'm cool with Damon Dash. I know Jay's coming. And to destroy the entire scene. I'm like, and I could see the level of discomfort. Like, when Jay did the thing with Foxy, when he took Foxy, it was not. There was no comfort there. It did things that could be like,
you seen
I wish I could talk to him and like, yo, don't even pay attention to none of that. What do you need?
Work.
Like, you need the office space? I'm gonna get you office space. Yo, Damon Dash and them got office spaces. They got their thing. You running out your car, man. You the best. You're the best. You need certain things, and he didn't have it at the time. So it was difficult. So I had there's nothing I can control, right?
Yeah.
I could just ride it out, and be as humble as I can throughout the process. Right. But I had like, let me start messing with Pac. I think Pac is nice. So even though we had disagreements, anybody had disagreements with, I can now dress them under the guise of Tupac, and they wouldn't know. So it's like, it was just like, I sent close to everybody. Everybody wears it. Yeah. Because back then, you would run into, I like Nas, I like Willie Esco, I like Jay. I'm not wearing Esco. I don't like Nas. I like Jay-Z. Yeah. So it became a tribal thing where Tupac,
everybody loves him.
Everybody, either you do or you don't.
Yeah.
But
he became loved, you know.
Yeah. I look at guys like Ronnie from Kith, and to me, you basically
to make a ramp.
Yes.
You basically were the Ronnie of our time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, you had it popping.
Yeah. And I work with him too. I know another difficult character, but every right to be.
When you're dealing with egos, that's
yeah. Well,
I'm not the game, man.
Look, man, I'm 26 years clean recovery, so that means my entire life of being in hip hop with a lot of fame. I was not
congratulations on
smoking.
that too, man.
You know, I was not in that lifestyle, and the being in competition with rings and stuff, that I knew that was fake, that was not real, and that was if I partaked in that, it would destroy my principles as a person. So I was like, I have to find a healthy, and I think that's basically things. They showed me the way, like, take this door. This is the way out of this lifestyle.
Right.
Make some money. Got to spend time with my son. You know, he was getting older, and I didn't have to travel as much. I just go to the mailbox, get my licensing fee check, and chill.
Nice.
That's right, man. It appears you worked with a lot of collaborations, man. Talk to me about the Coogi and Puma collabo. Is that this new vibrance that we see in the Puma sneaker? These colors that are just out of this world, that look like a Coogi sweater now.
Fire. I'm a sneakerhead. Fire.
Well,
I looked at him. I said, "Yo, Puma's doing something, man." Because I'm a Puma head. I play ball in Pumas. I love the old school Pumas. Yeah. I remember there's an interview you talked about the green and white Pumas. Yo, son, those is classic. I need a pair of them green and white Pumas. Trust me, I need a pair of them.
I can't find them yet, bro.
Listen, let me know, bro.
Please. Green and white. That's that color shirt, right? With the white
stripe. Yes, sir. It was clean, son.
Oh my God. It's like I wish I had the balls to wear it back then.
You get a lot of trouble with that. But Coogi and Puma.
Yeah, you get a lot of trouble.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Puma thing is on this maybe later on as I opened up Coogi to become, the strategy behind that was to have Coogi sell all year round instead of just the fall. So that strategy was partner up with a sneaker brand, force them to do the drop during May, during the springtime. Didn't know, and I think again, it's perfect. Biggie died in March. His birthday's in May. So it became a good narrative that I was able to finesse Puma and be like, they thinking they want to do it in the fall. I'm like, nah, we need to do this in spring. Right? So it opens up Coogi back to the marketplace being available all year round instead of just this fall sweater. Right? Which was not, so to go back a few steps, once I decided to stop doing Willie Esco, I had Makaveli quietly, nobody really knew. And then my partners acquired Coogi. Now, mind you, they knew my pedigree, so they put Coogi in my lap in 2004. They threw it in my lap. They're like, we want you to run Coogi. I had become my partners. There was three of us all together. Two of them are the same partners with Damon John, Shark Tank Damon John. So they're the same. We had the same partners, the brothers. So one brother was my partner, the other brother was his partner. So the older brother was Damon's partner, and his clause was no more additional urban brands with the older brother. You can't bring in any additional urban brands. No competition, which blew me away because I'm like, you want to be able to bring in, you want to move out of artist into the boardroom. Like I do. Like, why would you want to push the competition away, absorb? And Google was early, and you know, I knew that Google's philosophy is acquire all threats. Buy them young.
Yep.
Either you kill them or you grow them, but you control them. And that's my philosophy back then, was like, yo, I have my own brand, and you had Echo, who needed money to survive, and they asked me, Will, what do you think about Echo? Mark's dope. Bring him in. Bring him under our tent. It will have to go through the older brother, and the older brother would say, I'm ask Damon, and Damon would say no.
Wow.
Okay, Russell needs money. Fat Farm. Do the Fat Farm deal, guys. Let me ask Damon. No. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hello?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
So this is me being no ego. Do the deal. I come in with Damon Dash. If you look at Streets is Watching, you see all my Esco stuff in there. So part of the tension was I was too tight with Damon Dash and Rockefeller crew with me and Nas. I have to dress everybody. I don't care who it is. But I know Jay was coming, and he was, I was like, I love you, Nas.
But this new guy's emerging.
Make way for this new cat. Right? I know good music when I hear it. Nas is doing great music, but Jay's was different. So Damon loved our clothes because we dressed the whole set. And he was like, I want to do Rockaware. I want you to design it. I'm like, nah, I can't design it. I have a contract, man. I can't do it, but I'll bring it to my partners. I'll bring it to my partners, tell them the deal. Please acquire this threat. Right? Nope. Can't do it. Damon don't want it. I was like, okay, I see this is being redundant now. Like, we could have 5 brands already underneath me, Damon. We can control the marketplace.
Control the competition.
Control it. They coming to you, hat in hand, saying, help me.
Right.
No. All right, cool. The last one before I broke my back is like Sean John. Okay. I was like, all right. D, if you don't do this deal, it has your last name in it. Puff Sean, you're John.
Right.
You can't lose. Like,
you can't miss out on that one.
Why would you? Like,
right. Nah, it makes sense.
You got it. No rapper's gonna sell clothes. No, we're not doing that here. I'm like, yo, I'm in. This is a Twilight Zone.
They've been sleeping on us since day one, man. They're sleeping on us. Our potential and all that. That's it.
Twilight Zone, man. I was like, and I'm saying I'm not going to. These brands don't even are out yet. Rocker is not out yet, but they're gonna be bigger than my brand. Sean John's not out yet. He's gonna be bigger than my brand. I already know. He's gonna be bigger than Fubu. Buy them. Get him as a little youngster. Put him underneath your wing. Nope. That's when I got tired. And it was a lot of ego and holding on to this young man's sport. I got tired of it. So when I came up with Makaveli, I deliberately put it in front of Damon. So he's saying no. So then I did my part. You know what I mean? I offered it to you. They have first right. So I put it in front of them. They laugh like, Tupac selling clothes? Nah, they're like, you've been saying everybody's gonna sell clothes. Well, now you got Tupac. I said everything I told you. It's all working, right? So this you need to bring Tupac into Platinum Fubu after Muhammad Ali. You should do a Tupac.
Right.
And it helped me. I would have made money. Right? And then they would have propelled the brand off, right? Because I would have controlled the brand too. So I was selfishly thinking, but I knew they would say no. So it automatically approved. It automatically gave them, that was the first right of refusal. So I automatically did it on my own. But then they turned around and things were tanking fast everywhere there. So I had my Makaveli business elsewhere. I was still working on Coogi. Fubu's tanking fast. And you know, before you know it, I'm at the helm of 2 brands, and Coogi's starting to take off. But, you know, I just couldn't come to an agreement where I would get a piece of Coogi in return for a piece of Tupac. So we didn't see eye to eye. So I just focused on Tupac. But it was that dynamic of you don't last forever, man. Like now I could talk to Dame and say, you remember, like you've done Shark Tank longer than Fubu, right?
Yeah.
But there were moments where he was nervousness, like it's like, what am I gonna do next? So Coogi was working, and then I got Coogi started in 26, came back 2012, 13, launched it with Rag and Bone, and then with Ronnie. So on the streetwear side, I launched it with Ronnie Kiff, and then on the women's side, I launched it with Rag and Bone.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. It seems so like
that led to. So I launched it high, right, and then the plan was to make this all year round. So now it's time to start high boutique, global platforms, and then move into footwear, Nike, Adidas, Puma. See who can introduce the brand as an all year round brand. So that's what Puma did for me.
Yeah, it seems like, in talking about, you know, the evolution of fashion, you know, I'm on Instagram a lot, and I see a lot of young up and coming designers on Instagram that have almost like they found a way to incorporate all of the different aspects of from design to sale and whatever their operation is. Like there's a brother actually out of New Jersey, a kid named Cool Kai that has
Cool Kai.
Yeah.
I met with him. I know of him, and he's hustling. He's doing his thing.
What are your thoughts about that? Now that it seems like that these operations now is like more enclosed and people have an opportunity to kind of do it themselves rather than
your distribution channel. Your every person is his own magazine ad. You could put it on your social media and drive traffic. So and give the customer more variety. So what I think is a beautiful thing, up until you get to the point where Nike throws you a check to dilute your brand, and you have to decide if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? That's the trick.
It's almost like what you said, right? Like, you know what, you acquire them. You acquire what you think is a threat, or they want to tap into your market.
Yeah, Nike don't want to acquire nobody. The only one that sort of supreme with the Louis Vuitton thing was to me expert. They played the long game to perfection, like, and they moved the culture along in a way that was not possible a few years back. But I think now this era is DTC, direct to consumer. Your own channel, build it up. You don't need retailers no more. So being in retail stores is not meaningful. It's an option. And I think they're in the driver's seat, but the market always adjusts. Like someone's gonna figure out how to wrangle. You know, maybe it ends up being an Amazon play or something like that. But it is the minute you start getting so much traffic, collaborations are there to me, and this is how I use Coogi. Coogi is a communal IP, right? I want young talent to use it, from Romeo Hunt, Gypsy Sport, and then OGs use it. You know, Nike, Puma, Adidas, they love it. It's a communal IP for the culture, but I don't turn down young talent that want to do something with Coogi.
That's right.
Obviously, you have to do your work on it. Like, give me a deck, tell me what it can look like. You know, I want them, because that's going to give them a leg up. And it's a brand you can't remove the brand from the culture at all. It's like it's embedded in the culture. It's never going to go away, right? Never, ever, ever, never. Like everything else, FUBU, all this stuff, it's just never going to go away. Just Coogi will be always that brand that had its first hand out to embrace the culture. Like, and for that, you're always going to be loved. And then you complement that by the imagery with Biggie, always reminded, like, never going to go away. So I use that philanthropically for younger guys to partner up with me, right?
Nice. And
then you bang the guys that want to dilute the culture. They clearly want to dilute the culture, right? Yeah, they were like, yeah, we want to do this on his birthday. Oh, it's a great idea. Like Rag and Bone, like really, like we didn't know like Biggie's music is great. Yeah, that's great. Now put it in your runway show, and so you see it blatantly happen. You know what I mean? And use the brand in a way that benefits the culture, not the vultures.
Yeah. Well, I know we thank you. You gave us a lot of time and a lot of insight into how like the inner workings of the fashion industry is. Yeah. I just want to ask you one last question before we let you go. I know for artists in general, like, your first creation is usually like your baby. Like if it's a singer, R&B, whoever it is, they always, hark back to that moment that they knew that they was actually on. Do you remember the first time you walked into a clothing store and seen Willie Esco on the shelf, and what was your response to it?
Oh man, it wasn't the shelf thing, right? Because when it happened on the shelf for me, things were well on the way, and I know how things operated. So yeah, it was relieving. But let's viscerally, when my first T-shirt was shown on the page in the Source. Source would have an editorial piece of hot T-shirts for the summer, right? Mm-hmm. When it was in that piece, that's when I was like, I knew what I was thinking was right. Like, it's gonna tap into the Nas thing, and people were like, so they showed my T-shirt, Esco, Willie Escobar. They attributed. Now there was no links to website. People have to find the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But to me, that was more watershed moment for me to know I made this T-shirt, I made the brand, I did everything, screen printed it, put it in the package, sent it to FedEx, and sent it to the Source with the hopes of it being shot and put in an editorial. Don't know if it made it to the Source. And when they open that thing up and you're like, yo!
Nice.
That's more, because when I had stuff on shelves, I knew I'm with Samsung. I know that
it's going to get there.
I know it's going to.
Yeah, it's going to get there.
So that was the first part was more a lot of footwork, legwork, and my gut feeling is that this is going to work because there's a lot of Nas fans out there. Mm-hmm. And when it's approved and it's like proven, I'm like, yeah, I got something.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the feeling.
Nice.
That's a good feeling right there, man.
Good feeling.
Give us your social media.
Oh, Willie, I got a couple. Willie _Esco, right? WILLIE. You have Coogi brand, right? You have Low Life brand, right? And you have a new footwear brand I'm relaunching. 40-year-old brand called Jaclar.
Okay.
I'm a footwear guy. Like before Pumas, like this the brands that people don't know that were out back then. So I'm reviving a footwear brand that is from 1975. And I know the brand well because I couldn't get my hands on a pair when I was little. First pair I got was ones that I actually, once I bought the brand, I had it made, and I had a pair of white on whites, and I was like, yeah, it took me 40 years
to get these.
But
that's how I felt about my Pumas, man. I couldn't wear them back. My mom's like, you're not wearing those, man.
I don't have the green ones. I saw it. I was in the showroom. I was like, I need a pair. They didn't get me a pair. I was like, I don't care about the Coogi ones. Give me the green one. They couldn't get it. So, Jaclar, JACLAR Athletics is the brand. It's out of Boston. Probably most of my work is being done there because it's huge upside. It's like I feel about my Esco. I feel like Nike, Puma, Adidas, all white owned. All white owned. No one is minority owned that has purchased a brand that's dusted on the shelf that has rich heritage. People are doing their brands, they're calling it whatever. There's no heritage there, right?
There's a calling post message from Taylor Management.
So
this week the tennis court opened at some point.
So my thinking is, the footwear business is so big. I know our culture could make anything hot. And this brand, if you dig and research it, you'll see, it sponsored basketball camps in the 70s and 80s, owned by Franklin Sports. So they did footwear and basketball cleats and baseball, running shoes. It's just is forgotten. And I'm like, to me was like personal, because I want a pair of these. I'm going to get my fucking pair of shoes. So, and I get to relaunch it. You get
to put your hands on it.
And my hands on it. And with all these brands like Nike, all these guys are just white owned. They don't, there's no, it's just white owned. It's just not, I'm reverse gentrifying the business and footwear. And I'm the only guy in the space, like the Puerto Rican thing. I'm the only guy in the space. Go look. Yeah. There'll be brands with footwear, like, Virgil will have his Off-White, but there's no heritage there. It's just a brand with footwear.
Right.
Yeah.
You go dig into this, you'll see, old ads. You'll see everything. It was on par with Puma, Adidas, and Nike in ads back in the day. So,
and you should use those visuals from back then too, man.
Oh, you'll see when you go to the IG, you'll see all of it there. Like
nice.
You'll see the visuals.
Yeah.
So that's my baby right now. Because that has the most upside, and again, that will allow me to sit at home, license out to each country, and be like, "Go ahead, peace."
You know the game now, son.
Know the game.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Willie. I appreciate the time, man.
Okay, my pleasure, guys.
Thank you.